Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Vira Herlian Aristanti. I will present about metaphor in Crazy Rich Asian movie. Introduction. Language is the ability of humans to talk and to communicate with others. Therefore, language is very important in everyday life. Without language, people will be very difficult in living their life because the language has taken an important position in everyday human life. The meaning of the language used by the speaker cannot always be taken literally by the listeners. Sometimes someone uses figurative language to develop thoughts, ideas, or feelings where the meaning depends on the context of what is being said by the speaker. There are different ways to communicate the same message because it depends on the context that enables the addressee to recognize the sender's intention. So we must therefore look into the context of the figurative language used by the speaker. Lakoff and Johnson argue that the essence of metaphor is understanding and experiencing one kind of thing in terms of another. The metaphor means to interpret something in a different meaning or the form of implied meaning, while this meaning is not plain but a hidden meaning that contains a sign that is implemented and uttered in the form of words or sentences. Sometimes the ways of conveying meanings or message are different. Some use word. Metaphor has existed in our daily life for a long time. In everyday life, language has several functions for people who used it. Metaphor is one of the many parts of the language that is often used to represent or describe certain things that seem extraordinary by someone. Metaphor often contain elements that are sometimes not explicitly mentioned. Study about metaphor has been conducted by several researchers. The first, Safi Nailil Kamalia in 2013, investigated the conceptual metaphor used in lyric. The second, Octavia Zunanik in 2015, observed metaphor in the lyrics of Maher Zain songs. The third, Hildanida Maulida in 2015, focused on the translation of metaphor in 300 Rise of an Empire movie subtitle. Fourth, Tuti Maria Ulfa in 2016 examined the metaphor used in Anna Bedstead poem. Fifth, Sharwani Habib in 2017 also examined the metaphor used Emily Dickinson's poem. And the last, in 2019, the research article was researched by Ivan Tidrow, who studied aspect of the visual metaphor entitled Metaphor Comparison in L2, meaning, image, and emotion. This research will take the data from Crazy Rich Asian movie and the metaphor by Lakoff. The data of this research will be chosen the research because the movie very famous. The study aims to find out what types are used by the main characters in Crazy Rich Asian movie, as well as what is the meaning of the metaphor used by the main character when conducting a conversation. Problem of the study. The first, what is the most frequently kind of metaphor used in Crazy Rich Asian movie? The second, what is the meaning of metaphor used by the main characters in Crazy Rich Asian movie? Significance of the study. Hope that this study could enrich the knowledge of the reader and also to raise language awareness in society in the field of semiotic and metaphor. Scope and limitation. Whereas in the limitation contained in this study, the researchers only examined metaphor in conversation of Crazy Rich Asian movie. Definition of key term. Metaphor is interpret one thing in another but still in the same context. Movie is the creation of two-dimensional moving artwork which has the completeness of several elements of art. Crazy Rich Asian, a movie that tells a girl and man who falls in love but differs in social class. And then, review of literature. Semiotic. According to the statement of Ferdinand de Saussure, semiotics is the study of sign. There are signs everywhere, each sign has a different meaning and everyone has a different interpretation of sign. Signs can be in the form of word, image, sound, symbol, index, icon, and etc. Semiotic is about our engagement in the basic process as living organisms and humans. So actually semiotic is a study that teach people to be more aware of the environment around them and make the world as if they were around us. Then, semiotic helps us to be more caring and sensitive to someone who is around us when doing social interaction. And then, metaphor. Metaphor consists of a literal primary subject or tenor expressed in terms of a figurative secondary subject or vehicle. So, those metaphors are always associated by interpretation, which is there is the main subject. This main subject can be interpreted in other meanings that are not much different. The types of metaphor. This theory introduced by Lakoff and Johnson. The three general kinds of metaphor are: the first is a orientational metaphor. Orientational metaphor deals with a spatial orientation that is derived from our psychical or cultural experience involved up and down, in and out, high and low, front and back, and others. The second is a ontological metaphor. An ontological metaphor provides much less cognitive structuring for target concept than structural ones do. And the last is a structural metaphor. A structural metaphor is a metaphor where one concept is expressed in terms of another structure or concept. Then movie. Movie is just a moving image as for its movement referred to as an intermediate movement, the movement that arises only because of the limited ability of the eyes and the human brain to capture many image changes in a split second. The film becomes a very influential media, surpassing other media because of audio and visual works well together in making the audience not bored and easier to remember because the format is interesting. And then Crazy Rich Asian. Crazy Rich Asian is one of the famous films in August 2018. The film, taken from the best-selling novel by Kevin Kwan, turned out to have made it into ranks of the box office in the United States. And then Crazy Rich Asian tells about relationship of love, but both of that have differences in social status. And then research methodology. Research design. Researchers will use a descriptive qualitative approach. The aim of the researchers to use this method is to complete the analysis of the research subject in accordance with the research question. And then data collection. Research data. The data of this research The data of the research will be in the form of words, phrases, sentences uttered by three main characters in Crazy Rich Asian movie that are Rachel Chu, Nick Young, and Eleanor. Data source and subject of the study. The source of the data will be the movie and the transcript from this movie. Research instrument. The main instrument is in this study is the researcher herself. Because she will analyze this research, must use her time to watch, to read, and analyze. The supporting instrument of this research are films and the transcript. Then, data collection techniques. The first, search Crazy Rich Asian movie in YouTube or in Pahiin, and then watch and also read the transcript. And the last is collecting the data. Data analysis. The first, identifying, that is identify the types of metaphor. The second, classifying, that is classify the data into the table. And then discussion, discuss and explain the analysis. And the last, conclusion, draw a conclusion based on the result.